you are on the ventral aspect of the animal and you're about ready to go onto the thigh. You want to make sure everything on the torso is done before you go to the thigh, and that's mainly so you can get your technique down, all right? The thigh is going to have no margin of error on the medial aspect. There's no cutaneous maximus. There's not a lot of adipose tissue, and they're very important superficial blood vessels. In fact, for those of you who are interested in such things like shark attacks, we're going to see the blood vessel that actually causes most people to die from shark attacks or fatal. So, making sure we have tension as we go. Stay up. Look at how high I am away from, oops, yeah, you can see that fine. How high I am from the underlying layer, right? And this is actually a fairly pudgy little rat by our standards. Most of your rats won't have that much fat to it. By the way, while we're here, there's the pectoralis group, profundus and superficialis. The white line here is linea alba, which means white line, and that separates the right and left rectus abdominis muscles, but it looks all smoky, doesn't it? Because you got a tendon over that which connects the left and right external abdominal obliques. And that's why you got to be careful in the abdomen, because all that white stuff looks harmless, but you need it. So notice as I'm pulling along on this, I'm getting myself into trouble. I'm in a pocket. I can't really see where I'm going. And that's a bad thing. You don't want to dissect without seeing where you're going. So we'll split this up into two pieces. And we'll continue to keep it in two pieces, but we'll keep that flap going as we travel. And that way we can see. And there it is. There's our nice pink little blood vessel there. It's a pretty important blood vessel. I'm sure most of you don't know what it is, but as soon as you hear the name, you'll remember it forevermore. That's the femoral artery. The femoral artery is called that because it runs through the femoral region of the hind limb, which isn't too surprising. Next to it, we should be seeing blue, which would be the femoral vein. But this side of the animal was not well injected. So unfortunately, we don't have both the artery and vein showing. But you can see on either side of our artery something that's white. One's a nerve and the other's the vein. And since we got a little brown right here, that's the vein. And then, oops, on the other side here we've got the nerve. So basically, when we look at superficial structures like this, there's a rule of thumb called NAV, L, naval. Nerve, artery, vein, and then a lymphatic, which we'll never find on these animals. All right? On the other side, he probably has a really nice vein, because a lot of times when they inject these animals, the arteries are done well on both sides, but the veins are only done well on one side. And that's probably what happened here. So it's back to my stupid story about shark attacks. Since sharks usually bite at your flailing legs, they usually sever the femoral. And that's why most people who die of shark attack bites die from blood loss to the femoral. Especially when it comes to something like a great white, which will bite, cause you to bleed to death, and back off and wait for you to die. That's how they hunt seals and all that. What? So don't go to the beach this weekend. Stay home and study. All right, so at this point, we've got it looking pretty nice. We can't see a lot yet because we have a pad of fat here. In fact, I'm actually surprised the way you skinned it, you didn't expose something else. But we can see there's the inner thigh. Here we're on the shin. We're not going to do any more work with that for a long time because the tendons here look like fascia. And the same is going to be true with the arm. You stay on the upper limb, you don't go below the elbow or knee because the tendons look like stuff you're going to remove. And until you know what you're working with, you're going to mistakenly remove those tendons, and then your muscles no longer have their attachments. What we should be seeing here, because the way that it was skinned, there it is a little gland right here. It looks like a white pumpkin seed. It's called the preputial gland. And the preputial gland lubricates the foreskin, or prepuce. You'll see one on either side. You want to try to save that for the reproductive system dissection later. And there's the kneecap. There's our patella. Right there. All right, so I don't want to do the arm on the same animal because Well, Mr. November's already a good jump ahead of a few of you. Is there someone who's about ready for me to do the arm and ventral that I haven't demonstrated with yet? Ethan, were you about ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead and bring it up. Then bring your equipment with you.
Bring what?
Your equipment.